Well, hello everyone. It's Bronnie here again for another day in Bronnie's World and Super Saturday with my superhero, the awesome Doctor Joel Wallach here in Bronnie's World. Day 1066. Would you believe it?
Wow.
Well, it's a lot of time. Well, guys, listen. Last week, the doc and I had such a good chat that I've actually had a few people contact me, and one lady in particular that contacted me, and she's not the only one I've heard that I've had in the last couple of years who's talked about having spinal fluid. What is it? Spinal fluid leakage. So I wanted Doc to cover this today. So I'm going to read you what this lady is concerned about, because I know she's not the only one out there with this issue. Because like I said, in the last 2 years, I've had at least 2 other people contact me.
Very common.
Yeah, which is surprising. I didn't know this was so common. So I won't read you everything this lady said, but she's about 49 years of age. And because of her condition, she has collapsed lungs. You know, her lung collapses. It causes all sorts of issues. She has hips are rubbing bone on bone by the time she was 32. She has a lot of spinal issues and high brain pressure, causing the leaks in my spine. I'm needing to lay flat 80% of the day as I'm leaking spinal fluid. So I have low volume spinal fluid around my brain. I have also had very high cholesterol, but feel everything is linked. So she's already realizing after our talk last week that everything is linked. And it is, isn't it, Doc? So I'm going to hand it over to our awesome Dr. Joel Wallach.
Was she given a diagnosis?
No, she didn't say per se, other than her, you know, what I read to you is actually what she's been told she has. It's called, hang on. It's that name I can't say that I said.
Ehlers Danlos.
Yeah, that's it.
Ehlers Danlos Syndrome. It's actually quite common.
Yes, that's what it's called.
Yeah, it's a connective tissue problem. Okay, by connective tissue, we're talking about ligaments and tendons and skin. And we're talking.
Sorry, the neighbors are mowing, so I thought I better shut the window.
Okay. Skin. We're talking about artery walls, and anything that has connective tissue in it is going to be afflicted by this Ehlers Danlos syndrome. It's a connective tissue issue, and doctors want you to believe it's autoimmune, where the body's attacking itself. And I'm sure they've told her that. Okay.
More than likely, yeah.
Yes, and so that's absolutely 100% false. It's a very simple nutritional deficiency disease, and doctors are very ignorant about nutrition. Okay, and so when they don't know what it is, they blame it on the patient. Oh, your body's attacking itself. You have an autoimmune disease. Okay, no, this is a very simple nutritional deficiency disease. And how much does she weigh?
That she didn't tell me.
Have you seen a picture of her?
I have. She's probably about similar weight to me, around, I would imagine probably 119, 120 pounds.
Okay.
The pictures I've seen of her, she looks slim like me.
Okay. Now, does she have any other issues she complains about? High blood pressure, diabetes?
She hasn't talked about high, other than high cholesterol. She talks about that, and the hips.
By high cholesterol, what does that mean? Did they give her a number?
No.
Okay.
Well, she didn't give me a number.
Okay. Yeah, because when doctors say you have high cholesterol, that can mean it's still too low. Okay, because they don't know. Okay. And so Ehlers Danlos syndrome is it's a connective tissue issue. It's caused by nutritional deficiencies, and there's 2 things she needs to do. Number 1, she needs to begin to absorb more efficiently. So she's got to get rid of all the bad stuff. No fried foods, 0 ever again. She cannot have any processed meats. No ham, no bacon, no bologna, salami, hot dogs, pepperoni, jerky, spam, those kind of things. All that's got to go because of the chemicals.
No kangaroo jerky either.
Yeah. Okay. And then she's got to also, let's see here, stay away from oils, cooking oils and salad dressing. She's got to stay away from, let's see here, she's got to stay away from any inflammatory things like gluten, no wheat, no barley, rye, and oats, no buckwheat, all that's got to go. Buckwheat doesn't have gluten in it, but buckwheat does have phagopyrenes, which are actually worse than gluten. And you get these packages today because everybody knows that gluten is bad. So on the packages of buckwheat, they put gluten-free. Everybody's running and buying the gluten-free buckwheat, and then they're getting the phagopyrenes, and they're getting worse problems, okay, because of the phagopyrenes and destroy their intestines, so they can't absorb nutrition, even if they're supplementing, okay? And then when you have things normal, you have to supplement with the 90 essential nutrients. When you have things abnormal, you have to supplement with the 90 essential nutrients forever.
Yeah.
Okay, this isn't just, until you feel a little better. This is forever. How long do you need oxygen?
Well, as long as you want to live, actually.
That's right. You got it, girl. Okay. What about how often do you need water?
Every day, all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
We're mostly made up of water, are we not?
How long do you need the 90 essential nutrients?
For life, for as long as you want to live.
That's correct. Okay. Now, you have to appreciate that there's all kinds of deficiencies happen when your intestines are bad. Your intestines go bad when you have a connective tissue problem, because your intestines, all those villi, the little finger-like projection in your intestines, your intestines look like a shag rug because of all those little finger-like projections. Well, when you're eating gluten, all those villi go away, and so suddenly now your intestines look like a what? Oh, a plastic tube. So you've lost 98%. Yeah, you've lost 98% of your absorptive surface because all those villi are gone because of the gluten and phagopyrenes. Okay, now let's see here. You have to appreciate that 120 to say 120 to 130 pounds. I want her to get rid of all those bad foods we've just discussed. No sugar, no carbonated drinks. The diet one's got to go because carbonation neutralizes your stomach acid, so you cannot efficiently absorb minerals, and you cannot efficiently digest food. You need your stomach acid. That's why the good Lord gave us stomach acid, right? And in our stomach, we make stomach acid. If the good Lord didn't want us to have it, we wouldn't have the equipment to make stomach acid, right? And so this all is sort of pre-planned in our behalf, but we have to follow the path and the rules and stay away from the bad stuff and do all the good stuff. Now, at her, say, 120 to 130 pounds, with her condition, I want her to have 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, full dose everything twice a day, okay? The healthy brain and heart pack has 215 nutrients in it. The core is still the 90 essential nutrients, okay? But I want her to have 2 healthy brain and heart packs to start with, full dose everything twice a day. Then I want her to have 2 bottles a month of our MSM, take 3 of those at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner time. They're going to help repair and rebuild everything from connective tissue, tendons, ligaments. We're talking about muscles, we're talking about artery walls, vein walls, or we're talking about cartilage, ligaments, tendons. We're talking about anything that's considered connective tissue, skin, all that gets rebuilt. Okay, very important. And then I want her also to have our collagen peptides, which is collagen from fish, poultry, sheep, and beef. Okay, and it comes in a powder. It's tasteless, very fine powder. And so I like to have them use a scoop. So she'll need to get 2 canisters from us, so she can put a scoop in her breakfast drink and a scoop in an evening drink. Okay. Then I also want her to have let's see here, hair, skin, and nails. Take 3 of those twice a day. It's going to help her rebuild her skin, her fingernails. Okay. Her hair should start growing better and looking nice and so on. That'll be a clue that things are going good on the inside. All right. And then
it's a clue for me. It's a clue for me. It's usually what my telltale sign when things are going wrong.
Yeah, there you go. And so even little kids can say, well, Grandma, did you color your hair? Your hair looks nice. And you get compliments, or even little kids will notice it. It's so wonderful. Okay. Now, she's going to have to do this, avoid the bad foods thing forever. And she's going to have to take these 90 essential nutrients forever. How long do you need oil in your car?
Well, as long as you want your car to go.
Well, there you go. How long do you need the 90 essential nutrients? As long as you want to go. Okay.
Exactly right.
Okay, same principle. Now, you have to appreciate that you can add 25 to 50 healthy years to your life by doing this. And when people have these sorts of things like these Ehlers Danlos Syndrome, it cuts your lifespan, okay, instead of the average, which may be for Australia and New Zealand, the average might be, let's see here,
I think it's about
New Zealand's 82, yeah, 82.3, and Australia's 82.9. So if you have Ehlers Danlos Syndrome, you may die in your 50s or 30s or 40s. Okay. So we're going to have
she's 49, so let's get it.
She's right. Yeah, she's right at that point. Okay. So if she does
it quickly,
if she does what we say quickly, if she does it faithfully and avoids all the bad stuff faithfully, we can add 25 to 50 healthful years to her life. But she's got to stick with it. Okay. Yeah. This will go away because it's not a genetic thing. It's not an autoimmune thing. It's actually a simple nutritional deficiency disease. Okay. And
that would thrill my heart no end.
Okay. Now, this sort of blends us into what I wanted to talk about today is if you want to have a long, healthful life and not be on 18 prescription drugs and going to the doctor's office once a week and getting surgeries and, you know, getting double knee replacements and on high blood pressure medication and diabetes medication and having your appendix out and, you know, all this stuff going on. You're getting heart valves implanted in you, you know, it's endless, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Okay. And so one of my books is called Prepare. Okay. The Prepper.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. The Prepper's Survival Bible has 14 chapters, and each one goes into what you need to do diet-wise and supplement-wise to eliminate all these different things that humans get with heart disease and lung disease and muscle disease and joint disease and intestinal disease and okay. And so this is me when I was in the military. I was a pretty bad boy when I was in the military. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And
you're gonna tell us tales out of school now.
And so yeah, that was me. And I spent 27 years in the military, 7 years in the Army at Fort Leonard Wood and 105, 155 howitzer artillery. And I spent 20 years in the Air Force in field hospitals, okay, working with the wounded, okay. And so all over the world, I went to like 30 different countries, okay. As there's a war going on there, they would send me there, okay.
Well, we didn't have a war going on in Australia, but you came here.
I did come to Australia when I was with the Air Force. Yeah, absolutely. And excuse me, it's one of those things where I retired as a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. So, you know, they kept promoting me because I was doing, what should I say, a job that made them happy. So they kept promoting me and promoting. I spent a lot of time in the Middle East and Israel and Egypt and Saudi Arabia and those kind of places. And so, you know, what was going on there. Okay. I was involved in all that kind of stuff. Okay.
So where were you stationed in Australia? Just out of curiosity. Did you happen to be stationed down in Victoria near what's the airport base down there?
It was more like near the airport because I was in the Air Force. So
yeah, but was it down in Victoria?
Yeah, there you go.
Now Point Cook.
There you go.
Yeah. We used to live down near there.
So all that information is really in the books, okay, in here.
Yeah.
And so it'll blow your mind.
I'll have to get hold of that one.
Okay. And then I have another book because we have Black History Month in the United States. I don't know if they have it in Australia. It's February. February is coming up in a week or so. Black Gene Lies goes into all the diseases that are in the Black community. They're not genetic. There's no genetic diseases in the Black community. Okay. And it's one of those things where in the days of the plantations, whether it was in Australia, New Zealand, America, or Europe, wherever the plantations were, South America, Africa, wherever it was, the plantation that had slaves, the slaves would outlive the plantation owners. The slaves would live to be 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. The plantation owners would die at 50 or 60. Because the plantation owners were eating like the Europeans, and the slaves were eating wood ashes, okay, putting wood ashes in their garden. That's how they got their minerals and things. And the plantation owners wouldn't do that. Those only things that animals did. Okay. And so,
Yeah.
and so the slaves lived much longer and were healthier than the plantation owners. Okay. So this is a lot of this stuff in here goes into the history. Okay. Of that.
I think you call it Martin Luther King Day or something, don't you? Or
Yes, the Martin Luther King Day is coming up. That's part of the the Black History Month. Okay, that's one day in the month.
Valentine's Day is also in February.
Hell's Kitchen. I think I've talked to you about this before briefly.
Yes.
Yeah, Hell's Kitchen goes into the transfer from wood and coal as fuel to electricity. When we went to electricity, we gave up the fuel that we've been using for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Okay. And we built these hydroelectric dams. Do you have hydroelectric dams in Australia, New Zealand?
Yes, we do. The
Okay.
Snowy Mountain one is the most famous.
Okay, very famous because not only did they provide efficient ways to make electricity, but also they stopped the spring flooding. And people are so overjoyed. Okay. Oh, no more flooding. It's wonderful. But then that was the end of our health, because every year when the spring floods would come, when the flood water would recede, the silt that came from the mountains, would be left on top of the farmlands, and the farmers would plow it back in and replace all the minerals that the plants had sucked out. Well, once they came up with these hydroelectric dams, no more flooding, no more rebuilding the soil every year. And that's why they came up with commercial fertilizer in the 1930s, because they couldn't grow food anymore because the soil was dead when they had all those dams.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Yeah. Now, we also have another book. Okay. He spent 5 years studying the top longevity cultures on Earth. There's 20 of them, and they all occur in places that have no universities, no billionaires, nothing like that. They're all just very simple, uneducated farmers living off the land, but they're still using wood for fuel. They're still putting the wood ashes in their gardens, for fertilizer because of the minerals, and they're still putting wood ashes into their food as a spice. Okay, and so this goes into all the things.
Actually, they have the best education of all, don't they? Life is an education.
Exactly right, and they're doing what they need to do to add 25 to 50 healthier years to their life. And when you take two famous billionaires in modern times, one was a guy by the name of Steve Jobs. You remember Steve Jobs?
Yes.
Apple
I think a lot of people do. Yeah.
Apple computers. Yeah. Well, he died at 52 from pancreatic cancer because he was eating all the bad foods. He could afford them.
He could afford them, yes.
But it killed him, right? And then
he could also afford the good food,
but he chose poorly.
He did.
Okay, then there was Jim Fixx, an athlete. Okay, and he wrote the first books on exercise and how it was important for health and all this kind of stuff. And he died at 56 of a heart attack in the middle of a marathon. He's in the marathon, and he's kind of halfway around the marathon. He drops dead of a heart attack halfway during the marathon at age 56.
So how but his book sales plummeted?
Oh, he wrote so many books, on exercise and how exercise is good for you. Well, exercise can kill you. Okay. And so then I want to talk about, we have this new CD set. I don't know if you have it yet in Australia, New Zealand. Okay, it's called There's a New Bulletin.
I haven't seen whether it's arrived yet, but I believe it's coming. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. You got it. Yep.
I just haven't got the real thing. I've just got this to say that
picture. Okay, good.
Coming.
Yeah, there's a new bull in town. Okay, because we're going against Red Bull, which is the big sports drink, energy drink thing. Well, Red Bull only has one mineral in it, magnesium. Our Rebound has 75 minerals in it. Which is better for you, 75 minerals or one?
75.
Well, there you go. And then
do I get the top of the class today?
you get an A+, dear. Okay. Then also you have to appreciate that when you're eating all the bad foods and exercising, and they have all these diets, all the 4 food groups, the 7 food groups, choose your food based on your blood type. Okay.
Yes, or your hormone type, or also yes,
all these very crazy things that people come up with. Okay.
Yeah.
Now the low calorie diet and so on, right? And all these billionaires are dying in their 40s and 50s and 60s doing this. We came up with a CD. Okay, it's called "What Kills Billionaires." And I had forgotten that I had given that lecture. What kills billionaires? I had given that lecture. Yes, there it is. It's
That's part of this one.
It's one of the three of them. Yes, it's one of the three. I had forgotten that I had made that CD in Canada. And so half the people at the meeting, there was like 2,000 people there. Half of them were Canadians and half were Americans. And it was recorded. And that's where that CD came from, was a big meeting. Okay.
Awesome.
And so the energy is phenomenal. Okay. As well as the response in the audience is phenomenal. And so we're going through all these diseases and Q and A and so forth. And you will love that CD because it goes through, I think, about a good 25 or 30 different diseases, everything from heart disease and cancer and arthritis and osteoporosis and asthma and skin problems and just everything you can think of, Parkinson's disease and I said arthritis, osteoporosis, diabetes, high blood pressure, all those things are covered. And what nutrients to put into your 90 essential nutrients. If you take the 90 essential nutrients, then we have secret sauces. If you have a particular disease, you have the secret sauce, and the secret sauce goes away, kind of drop down your medication. Okay, so you get off the medication within weeks. Okay, I don't care if you've had these diseases for 25 years, usually within weeks it's gone. Okay. And so
that's what I'm finding hard, Doc, is people who have had conditions for a long time and they're saying to you, oh no, but I've had this all my life or whatever. And it's trying to convince them, well, what harm's it going to do to give it a go? It's like it's got to be worth getting your life back. I mean, I have
to have 25 more years.
A friend has psoriasis really bad.
Well, to have 25 more years with your grandkids and your kids, is it not worth giving it a try? Because when you have psoriasis, okay, this is a deficiency. It's not autoimmune. It's not genetic. It's a deficiency, and it goes away very quickly when you take the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack and the hair, skin, and nails. You take the hair, skin, and nails because psoriasis is a nutritional deficiency of the skin. Okay.
So well, this lady gets injections and stuff, and even having a shower, sort of really puts her in a lot of pain. And I just cannot convince her that there is an answer. That
let her listen to that CD. Okay, let her listen to that CD.
I will when I get it.
Yeah, it's called "What Kills Billionaires," because when your car engine dies, it doesn't just you're driving along and it dies. Your red warning light comes on. The red warning light is psoriasis. Red warning light is arthritis. Red warning light is high blood pressure. And you take care of those red warning lights, you don't die. But if you just take something to cover the symptoms of the red warning light, the underlying cause of the red warning light will kill you. Okay, so that's why What Kills Billionaires is such a valuable CD, and it's part of this. And there's a new bull in town. CD number 1 is Dead Athletes Don't Lie. CD number 2, okay, is let's see here. CD number 2 is
What Kills Billionaires. What kills billionaires? On here it says what kills billionaires.
What kills billionaires? Yeah. Exercise without supplementation and suicide. Okay. And what kills billionaires? That's an obvious thing, but usually you get all these red warning lights before the billionaires die. They have all these symptoms. They're going to the doctors and they're getting their cortisone shots and that kind of thing. They get their high blood pressure medication, and then they die of something else because they weren't taking the 90 essential nutrients. So this is very, very, what should I say, enlightening. It's going to educate people and say, you've been asking all these questions. I want you to listen to the CD. Okay. And so we're also going to get it put on digital so people can just drop it down onto their computer and listen to it. So they're going to have it both ways. Okay.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Okay. And so we have all these tools now, okay, including the 3 CD set, but everybody, if they want to add 25 to 50 healthy years to their life, and as well as being healthy enough to do exercise, which is good for you if you're getting the 90 essential nutrients. If you do exercise without the 90 essential nutrients, exercise will kill you. Exercise,
Exactly.
exercise without supplementation is suicide.
Yeah. And that I have a hard time getting that through to people's heads too.
I know, because well, they always say to me, well, my doctor says, okay, how old's your doctor? Oh, he's 58. Okay, well, let's see how long he lives. I keep calling him every year. How's your doctor? Oh, he died last week. How old? Oh, he was 59. Do you still want to believe him?
It's like these doctors that people that go to the doctors to lose weight, and their doctor's bigger than they are.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh, you don't practice what you preach.
Well, I'm not eating fat anymore. Why am I not losing weight? It must be a genetic thing. No, they're not losing weight because they're not taking nutrients. When you're gaining weight, it's because you have a disease called pica, P-I-C-A. It's a craving, and you eat and you eat and you eat and you eat because you're missing minerals. When you take your minerals, the cravings go away and you lose the weight. It's that simple. If you don't take the minerals, you can, do gastric bypass surgery and do all these surgeries, all this, that, and the other, and tell you not to eat this, not to eat that. And then you're going to die when you're in your 50s because you're not getting the nutrition, because they've taken out half your intestines, half your stomach, putting you on all these drugs. And all you had to do is get off all the bad foods and take the 90, and you'll be losing a half a pound to 2 pounds a day. And so it's not difficult to do the math and say, well, how long is it going to take you to lose 100 pounds? Okay. It might take you 3 months.
And then I have people say to me that, oh, it's the medication they're on that causes them to put on the weight. And well, that's possible, but are you exercising?
Certainly can contribute.
Are you taking your supplements? Are you still eating all the bad foods? Yeah. Rest my case.
You got it. That's why you get an A+. Okay. So when you look at what's going on, again, worldwide, let's look at, let's see here. Let's look at France. They did something a little unusual. They say males in France have a life expectancy of 79.2 and females 85.3. Australia, the general average is 82.9. New Zealand is 82.3. Japan is 84.7. Canada is 84. UK is 81. Russia is 72. South Africa is 63. Italy is 83. The USA was 79. We were 17th. About 20 years ago, we were 17th in life expectancy in the world. Now we're 42nd. We're not going in the right direction.
The US is so advanced. You're so advanced in everything. Why is that?
That's because
why is it that the countries that have little to no industrial stuff,
pollution,
they're living longer?
Okay, yeah. Okay, well, that's because they're listening to their doctors, and their doctors are saying, exercise, exercise, exercise. Don't waste your money on vitamins, minerals. Just eat well. You'll get everything you need. And that's their song. Eat well, you get everything you need. That's, the 4 food group sort of concept. And the CD, What Kills Billionaires, goes into all these things that the doctors kill their patients with. Oh my gosh, it'll blow your mind.
The one industry, the one profession that can get away with murder. It just blows my mind. It just seriously blows my mind.
And you pay them to kill you.
Yeah. It just blows my mind. It actually breaks my heart, actually. I think, okay. And then I have people say, oh, but they've been to uni and they've done all this training. But what have they done with nutrition?
Well, how come their average lifespan of a medical doctor in America is 56?
Exactly. And they're telling people in their hundreds, oh, slow down, stop doing this, stop doing that. And again, actually, I heard many years ago when I was younger, a doctor telling someone in their late 90s to slow down. you know, and that person walked every, this is a true story. It's when I was younger, someone my parents knew. And so they stopped walking every day, going for their walks every day. And they stopped all these other things the doctors told them to stop because, you know, they're getting close to 100. And, you know, within weeks they died. And it was just heartbreaking, you know, and before that they were perfectly fine.
Yeah, you wonder what all those little crosses are on the doctor's front door, driver's door. So those are the number of people that they've killed. You know, like in airplanes, when you shoot down the enemy, you put like a little star on the side of the
We wouldn't have
airplane.
enough room on the wall.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, doctors have their place, don't get me wrong. And
Well,
you
trauma,
yeah.
if they're trained properly, trauma can be a place where the medical system is useful. But when you look at the billionaires who can afford to pay the doctors the most, to pay for the most expensive procedures, the most expensive medications, the most expensive food, the life expectancy of billionaires in America is 66.
Which makes no sense at all, does it?
No. Well, it does when you know that the billionaires are listening to what the doctors are saying. Eat more whole grains, eat more wheat, bread, rye, and oats. So then they get gluten problems. They cannot absorb nutrition, okay, because they have irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, and lupus, all these things where they cannot absorb nutrition because they're eating all these whole grains, wheat, bread, rye, and oats. Because, well, my doctor said to eat all these things. Okay. We need to talk with your doctor. Well, we can't. He died a couple of weeks ago. Okay. How old was he? Oh, he was in his 50s. Well, why are you still listening to him? Well, he was a doctor.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is something crazy, but I'm so glad I found that CD that I had done in Canada with half the audience was American and half were Canadians. Okay. What kills billionaires? It goes into athletics. It goes into billionaires. It goes into well-educated people, their life expectancies in the different categories, what they do with what they eat, and what they eat causes all these problems. And this CD, when you get it, you know, I don't know if you've ordered it yet, but you need to order it because it's available right now. Okay.
Yeah.
And
yeah. I'm waiting. Well, I have to get hold of them because our connection in Australia that, you know, that order in a big bulk for us, their Facebook got hacked. So I've sort of kind of I haven't ordered it from her yet. So yeah, because her brother, Dr. Kevin Grundy, gets them in.
When they're ready to start ordering,
yeah.
Yeah, everybody.
He gets a big bulk in from your office. So
that CD the information will actually save thousands and thousands of people in Australia and New Zealand. Save them. Okay.
I just should tell her to put me on the list for when it arrives at the house.
Yeah, have them call you immediately.
Yeah. Oh, she will. She'll let me know as soon as it's arrived, I can assure you.
Okay. So, and then when it comes to athletes, they have so many diseases that athletes get that they get injured from, they die early and so forth. And 99.9% of the time, it's always the diet they choose. Okay. And a lot of times I always ask these athletes that have these problems. I say, okay, I'm sitting down and talking with them, interviewing them so I can come up with a program for them. I say, do you take any oral vitamins and minerals, any supplement programs? Well, I eat well. Okay, that's not what I'm asking you. Do you take any vitamins and minerals? Well, I do take vitamin C. I take 500 milligrams a day. Okay.
Well, they're missing a few.
What about the other 89 essential nutrients? No, I just eat well. Okay, well, that's why you have a problem. Okay. Your body cannot heal itself, okay, without these nutrients. You cannot get these nutrients out of your food. Plants cannot make minerals, and minerals make up 2/3 of your 90 essential nutrients. 60 of the 90 essential nutrients are minerals, and plants can't make them. And all of the soils do not have the same level of vitamins and minerals. They occur in veins like gold and silver. They occur in veins, okay, like gold and silver. And the gold
and
and
you have
silver,
to go hunting for the gold and silver. Anyone who digs for gold knows that.
Yeah, I mean, does gold and silver, do they occur uniformly all over the world? No, they're in veins and mines and sort of. Well, the same thing is true with the essential nutrients, like calcium and magnesium and zinc and copper, and all these nutrients are found in veins. And you could have 50 feet away a vein of copper, and where you have your garden, there's no copper.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Well, look, I, as you know, I was born and raised on a dairy farm, and just looking at my memory going back to looking how my dad farmed and how people around used to say how good our farm looked compared to neighbours' farms. Thinking, how come yours looks so good and theirs is struggling? Well, there's a lot of reasons for that, but how you treat the soil is a pretty good one.
Yep, exactly. And so it's one of those things where I learned that when I was 9 years old, and I knew that doctors didn't know anything about it. And that was my first scientific publication. Okay, when I was 23, it was based on what was in the soil, what was not in the soil. It was a mass die-off of 500 sheep in one night, and they were perfectly healthy the day before, and they just all 500 died in one night. And I figured it out and got it published, and that started me on this whole trek. Okay, and let's see, it was 1953 when I figured that out.
1953. That was the year my husband was born.
Let's see, 1953. Yeah, no, excuse me, 1963. 1963.
Well, he was 10 years old, and I was 59. I was born, so I was. Well, it depends on when in 63.
Yeah,
so I was 3 going on 4.
Yeah, 1963 when I got that found, and it was published in 1965. My first scientific publication. That publication got a $25 million grant from the National Institutes of Health.
Well, they must have really.
Oh, they knew I was right.
How valuable that was.
Yeah. They knew I was right. Okay. And
well, certainly not back then. Sometimes now they seem to willy-nilly hand them out grants for crazy things, but not back then.
Yeah. So that was with let's see here. The Washington University in St. Louis, Barnes Hospital, Marlin Perkins, the old Mutual Omaha Wild Kingdom show on TV. Do you remember Marlin Perkins?
Yes, I do. Used to watch that when I was little.
But I worked with him, and so I gave him, a copy of my paper, and he sent me to Africa to work on the White Rhino Conservation Project. My first book came out of that, Rhino Express. Okay, and so when I was gone, he took my paper for those 500 sheep down in one night, and applied with Barry Commoner, who's the head of the Department of Biology at Washington University. And they got this $25 million grant from NIH. And he called me back. He said, okay, well, I got this big grant. You're going to be a pathologist on this project. Get back here now. Okay, so that's how that all started.
Oh, it must have been fun working with him, though. With Marlin. I can't even get my tongue around his name now.
Marlin Perkins?
Yes, that must have been really exciting times working with him.
Oh yeah. Well, he knew me very well because I'm a farm kid, and anything he needed done with an animal bigger than a mouse, he always contacted me. Okay, come and do this, Wallach, for a TV thing or a zoo show or something like that, or a newspaper.
So you're probably on his program. I'll have to go and see if I can hunt them out and see if you can find if I can spot you. Mm-hmm. That's a good spotting game.
I'm the guy who's handing him, the wombat.
Oh, truly?
Yeah, or maybe a lion cub or something like the baby monkey or something like that. Yeah, and so I worked with him for over 20 years, and he again recognized the value of that paper I had written when I handed him a copy, and he got that $25 million grant, and he was very honest and had me come back and be the pathologist on the project. And so people said, "Look, you couldn't have done that many autopsies." Oh, yes, I did. I did autopsies from zoos all over the world because we were working not just in that one zoo, but they were, taking samples from autopsies of the animals that died in zoos all over the world and sending them to us to figure out what was going on. And one of my most famous stories is when I came back from Africa and Perkins said, okay, here's what they want you to do. Here's the program, but here's what I want you to do first. Here's the sheet of what I want you to do before you get to that. And the first thing on the sheet was, he wanted me to find out why all the bears in all the zoos in every country in the world were dying of liver cancer. Bears can live to be 50, 60 years of age, but so many of them, like 50, 60% of them in every zoo in the world were dying at 20, 30 years of age of liver cancer. Well, I found out that what was happening in every zoo in the world, see, because they're all different, like 8 different species of bears. Why are they all in every zoo in the world having liver cancer? Okay, so it couldn't have been a genetic thing. No, not an immune thing. So what was it? And so I figured out it had to be something they were eating or drinking or something, pollution, whatever it was. And so what I figured out was that they were selling in every zoo in the world peanuts. And you buy the peanuts and you go to the bear moats and you throw the peanuts at the bears. The bears would stand on their hind legs and wave their paws and they get their peanuts, right? Their little treats.
They did.
And, yeah. Well, it turns out that peanuts grow in the ground. Walnuts and, pistachios and almonds grow in trees. Well, peanuts grow on the ground, and so they're subject to being infected with a fungus called Aspergillus flavus. Okay, because they grow on the ground. Aspergillus flavus produces a toxin called aflatoxin, which causes liver cancer. And so that's what was going on. They're getting all this aflatoxin from all the peanuts that people were throwing to them. So we changed to little, these little bags, these little Ziploc bags with little clusters of dried dog food that they were throwing at the bears. Bear didn't care. They were eating the dried dog food and all the peanuts. But within
they just wanted something to eat.
Yeah. Within 90 days, all the new cases of liver cancer stopped. And we saved many of them that had been given, diagnosis of liver cancer, but we were able to save them by, amputating part of their livers and this and the other and so on. And so that was written up in the International Zoo Yearbook. It was about, the mid 1960s, like 1965, something like that, International Zoo Yearbook. And so when people are drinking every Friday night because they're getting paid on Fridays, they're going to the bars and drinking their beer, eating their peanuts, and they get liver cancer. Doctor says, well, you've been drinking? Well, yeah, I've been drinking, all my working life. Well, that's why you got liver cancer, because of all the alcohol. But no, it was the peanuts they were eating with the beer they were drinking.
Yeah. So there you go. We need to get all the bars in all the world to stop putting peanuts out and give something healthy, a healthier snack. That's what we need to do. I'll have to go and educate some of these bars, right? That'll be our next education.
So those are the sort of things I do because they've given me, the chance to figure these things out. And so they're all published. All these things are published. And people say, that can't be right, Wallach. And they go look it up and they contact me a couple of months later. Wallach, I looked it up and you were right. It's all published. I said, well, why would I not tell you the truth? Well, it just seems so outrageous. The dumb farm kid from Missouri can figure all this stuff out.
Yeah.
When you do autopsies, you learn the truth.
I know that dumb farm kids theory. That I get labeled with that all the time. No, you can't know anything. You're just that, farm kid.
Farm girl, farm kid.
Yeah, what would you know? Well, clearly, when I'm getting around better than a lot of my friends, and sadly, I've had a few friends my age that I went to school with passed away just recently.
Yeah, well,
just suddenly dropped dead.
What you need to do is talk to people who know them, like who knew them as well as you did, or their friends or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, and say, hey, do you know why Julie died of this? You know why Frank died of that? He says, they told me it was a genetic thing. No, sit down. Let's talk here, because this was self-inflicted because they were eating this way and doing these things and not taking the 90 essential nutrients so their immune system would be good to protect them against this.
Or drinking every Friday night and eating the peanuts at the bar. That's right.
And if you do everything right and take the 90 essential nutrients and stay away from all the bad stuff, you can add 25 years to your life and add those 25 years to the time you're going to be able to spend with your kids and grandkids and nieces and nephews and all the people you love. But if you don't do everything right, you're going to die young, like the ones that just died. Yeah. Okay. And so you need to start collecting some information on some famous athletes and famous actors and actresses and famous people who are politicians in Australia who die young. And let's sort of
Well, there's
investigate.
been a few of those.
Yeah, we need to investigate that and say, hey, they died of this deficiency. They died of this, okay? It wasn't just something that they died of something that's in their family because of an autoimmune problem. No, 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 no. But it takes constant hitting at it day after day after day after day. And when I did that lecture in Canada, and half the people there were Canadian, half were Americans, and it's got to be about 10 years ago or more, 10, 12 years ago. And I had kind of forgotten about it until we started doing this thing with the athletes, and I wanted to have something, there's a new bull in town, and what CDs was I going to give them so I could educate them by the thousands. I can't talk to everybody one on one. And so then I came across that CD. Oh, I almost forgot about that. What kills billionaires? And sure enough, billionaires, they belong to gyms, and the gym trainers give them misinformation on diet and exercise. And that's one of the reasons why billionaires die so early. They're getting misinformation from their doctors. They're getting misinformation from their coaches who belong and work with them through these gyms and health centers and so forth. And they're getting bad advice from everybody they're talking to. And that's why they're dying in their 30s and 40s and 50s.
Yeah, exactly. And so we need to get hold of all the gym managers as well. But
we'll get
they're
the
not so easy to get them to listen.
We'll
They
get
really
the data.
don't want to listen.
Find out what the average lifespan is of billionaires in Australia, New Zealand. Find out, what they're dying from. Diabetes, high blood pressure, asthma, cancer. If they're dying from stroke, what are they
All
dying?
those things, all the above.
Get all the data, and so we can do one of our programs on that. Okay, specifically for Canada and New Zealand. Okay,
for Australia and New Zealand.
Okay, and Canada.
Yeah, because they're similar. I mean, we're all part of the Commonwealth, actually.
They're all part of the Commonwealth.
Yeah. So we sort of follow a lot that goes on in the UK.
Okay, we'll take care of them too. We'll consider them our, where we began. We started out from the UK also.
Well, exactly. We all came from the European nations. It's funny, isn't it? How we go back and we're all kind of.
But don't forget, also make sure that everybody has access to the book Prepare, the Preppers Bible, Survival Bible. Okay. Don't forget the Black Gene Lies. Don't forget Hell's Kitchen, the transfer from coal and wood for fuel to electricity. This is a big information. Okay. And then all the 20 countries where people live the longest are where they don't have any universities, no college graduates. They're all just farmers without any education, and their average life expectancy is 120. Okay.
Because their brains are not misinformed.
There you go. Okay.
They still know how to think for themselves.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they've to do that. They've got to think for themselves. They got to make sure everything's right. They got to make sure that they're providing nutrition for their fields, for their animals. And because they naturally have these nutrients there, and they're still using wood as fuel and still using coal as fuel, they're getting a recycling. They don't have these big hydroelectric dams. They're still recycling those minerals. Okay. And that's why they live so long.
It is, yeah. Oh gosh. Well, Doc, we're getting close to the top of the hour.
Would you have another person you want to ask about? Do you have another?
Did I have another person? Well, I kind of did, but we sort of kind of talked about the lady who has psoriasis really, really badly. I
Is
mean,
this one that has been diagnosed with Ehlers
no,
Danlos?
no, a completely different lady that has psoriasis really bad. She's roughly my age, maybe a little bit younger. I don't know her real age, but she has injections all the time to relieve it. And
Well, she needs to get rid of all the bad foods. You know that. None of the bad
Mm-hmm.
foods. And then she needs one healthy brain and heart pack for 100 pounds of body weight. She needs one bottle of MSM per month for 100 pounds of body weight. She needs a collagen peptides, a scoop of that at breakfast, a scoop of that at dinner, whether she weighs 100 pounds, 200 pounds, or 300 pounds. Again, to rebuild cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, which includes the skin, because 2/3 of the thickness of skin is connective tissue. And then she needs the hair, skin, and nails. Okay, 3 of those 3 times a day. That'll be 3 bottles a month because they're the tiny little bottles. Okay, hair, skin, and nails. And she'll get rid of, if so long as she stays away from the bad foods and maximize absorption of all these nutrients and stop the inflammation, her psoriasis will go away within weeks, 2 to 6 weeks. It'll go away. And as long as she stays on the program, it'll stay away. But remember, her intestines look as bad or worse than the skin.
Yeah. And that's the difficult thing that I'm having, is convincing her that there could be, we could have a solution, but it's like everything. It takes effort. You've got to do what is necessary to stop it, and it's got to be better than getting those injections constantly every couple of days.
Yeah. And of course, I want to show something here until you show it. Okay. Oh, you're going to show that again. I'll take mine down.
Yeah, you take yours down, and I'll put mine up, because otherwise then we can't see your beautiful face.
There you go. and so everybody needs to be listening to these 3 CDs, because what helps athletes maintain their health and add 25 to 50 healthful years to their life works for everybody. It doesn't just work for athletes, it works for everybody. Okay. Yeah. But athletes, since they are, what should I say, they deal with performance, they want to maximize performance. So they're prepared to do extraordinary stuff. And so what they do and shows their performance is enhanced. This is when everybody else says, okay, if that helps him, and I'll try it. So that's why we go with athletes.
I was thinking, like PE teachers, physical education teachers at schools, from primary right through, they should be listening to this as well.
That's correct.
And putting it as part of their program, not just trying to get, it would not only just help the kids survive,
when this comes there, you need to get
perform better.
When this comes there, you need to get this to every coach and athletic and health trainer, whether they're just training for health, for lung health, skin health, bowel health. This, okay, what kills billionaires goes into all that.
Yeah.
Okay, and of course, that's one of the 3 CDs that's in here. And so I agree with you. This is something that every kid should be listening to, these CDs, and understanding what the heck's going on before they get into grade school.
Yeah, but but the teachers that teach all this stuff, because when I went to school, when we did PE, the PE teachers, they just taught you, you did sport, you did gym, you did all that stuff. They didn't teach you the nutrition stuff. But now they sort of teach all this other stuff as well. And this is what they actually tried to, the teachers at where our young fellow went, I actually talked to them year or so ago about this sort of stuff, and they just didn't want to know. And I think, but you're not teaching these kids about the nutrition, what really is going to benefit them, because I knew what he was teaching, because our young fellow was doing it, and he was really, but they don't teach us about this. Yeah, and he tried to also explain to his teachers, but we should be doing this.
Well, you need to check and see if he's still alive.
Yes, exactly. I don't know, but if we can teach the kids from a young age good nutrition.
Those are the ones who will live to be 100. You teach them at a young age.
Because I hear the theory is that, I think I've heard you say this, that, our we're going to be the first generation that outlive our children. And that's sad. You know, we shouldn't be no parent should outlive their children.
Yeah. And this is the sad thing that's happening is more and more people are having to bury their kids because their kids there's just two of them die here in the USA just a couple of days ago. A 16-year-old girl who played flag football. She went to the doctor the day before to get a letter to tell them she could play because she didn't have her full physical yet for that year. So the doctor examines her, writes her a permission letter. She dies the next day playing football. Then 3 days later, another girl, 18 years old, MMA, you know, martial arts. Okay. Yeah. She dies of a heart attack while she's in a contest at 18.
It shouldn't be.
That shouldn't be. Okay. Mm-hmm. But they didn't say what they were eating, what they weren't eating, of course. And so I'm going to wait, you know, probably 3 months. I'll let 3 months go by. And I'm going to try and contact the parents and find out what they were eating for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Were they taking supplements? Were they just taking vitamin C? Or were they taking, you know, complete 90? Or, you know, what was going on? Were they eating gluten?
I mean, most athletes that I personally know over the years and coaches and that say, oh, you know, go eat all these carbohydrates. They eat pasta like it's going out of fashion. And I'm thinking,
there's gluten-free pasta. You gotta eat gluten.
There is gluten-free pasta. I keep telling people you can get gluten-free pasta. You can still enjoy these stuff. You just got to be smart.
You can enjoy your pizza, but get gluten-free pizza.
Yep. Well, we have a great pizza shop in our town that has gluten-free. Actually, we have two that do gluten-free pizzas.
On that note, dear, I'm going to have to run because I have another thing to do here.
You do.
Thank you so much for you get an A++++. You did a fabulous job today. Thank you for allowing me to share with you and your followers and listeners and partners and so forth. And I look forward to a couple of months from now when we'll be able to do more stuff together. Okay.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Doc Wallach, for dropping by here in Bonnie's World. Thank you, and God bless.
Bye-bye.
And bye. And so, just let me end out. So as I ask you all here in Bonnie's World to do is to stay safe, stay informed, be empowered, but do not live in fear, and take note of what Doc says. Grab that CD and you too will be powerful, beautiful, brilliant, and most definitely very brave. God bless you all. And we'll catch you again next week, Doc.
Okay, absolutely.
Okay. Love you. God bless.
Love you. Bye-bye.
See ya.